Hello and welcome to this video where we outline some stretches that you can do to release the knee. So as described in my overview on knees video, we are not actually stretching the knee per se, as of course the knee is a joint rather than a muscle. But what we are doing, what we can do, is stretch the muscles that surround the knee. So from the front, that would be your quads, that would be your hip flexors. From the back, that would be your calves, your hamstrings, and from the outer body, that would be your outer glutes, and the inner body, that would be your inner thighs. So then you've pretty much moved around all of those muscles that connect in and around the knee. So in terms of props that you'll need today, if you have a yoga strap, that would be great. If not, grab yourself a belt. You can even roll up a towel if you wish. And then whenever I'm working with knees, and I do have sensitive knees, I do have painful knees, I always like to grab a cushion just to pad up the knee when we come to that low lunge. So perhaps make sure that you have one of those, a cushion or a blanket. It means that also you get a little bit of support underneath your head when we come to lie down. So down you come onto your mats, just make sure that strap is next to you. And take a moment, just get nice and long through the spine and then grab at that strap. And let's extend it over the arch, just below the ball of that right leg, and extend that leg up to the sky. So this is your first stretch. This is your hamstring stretch, and I'm going to give you today a stretch for each of the areas that I've mentioned. So you're going to take about 5 or 6 stretches. So your right leg is to the sky, and personally I like to keep the left knee bent. You could extend it. I will give you an opportunity to extend it in a moment. But if you keep the left leg out, it just means you can purely focus on this right leg. So hands come to you, grab either side of your strap, and do your best to roll the shoulders down. So of course, taking the weight of the leg, there is a little bit of an engagement in the arms here, but try not to have shoulders hunched around those ears. Just ease shoulders back to the floor. And breathe. So, you know, the key to any stretching is to breathe deeply in and out through the nostrils so that you can send those signals to the body to let go and release rather than to fight the stretch. And you'll notice here that my foot is flexed and I'm trying to drive up to the sky with my heel. So there's a sense of pushing up to the sky, and yet also a sense of drawing my sit bones down into the floor so that I get a feel of lengthening my leg in both directions. So pausing and breathing here. A couple of modifications for you. If you have very tight hamstrings, your leg might actually be here, and that's okay, as long as it's not feeling like it's pulling you into an arch of the spine. So if that's how you feel, then just take a soft bend into the knee, and that will just take some of the intensity out of the hamstring, but hopefully you can still get a really nice stretch. So, you know, that's there for you if you feel like, you know, the leg gets stuck here. What we're trying to do is, or rather trying not to do, is to, you know, completely lock that knee. There's a softness behind that knee. So wherever you are, whether your leg is here and bent, whether your leg is extended and straight, whether your foot is over the head, wherever you are, just take another couple of breaths. And should feel nice. Lying hamstring stretch, super restorative. They're a really nice thing to do at the end of the day. And also a really nice thing to do at the end of your workout. For those of you who are watching these videos because from a workout perspective, from a hip perspective, you're super sore, then, you know, this whole section of videos is really good as a bit of a cool down. And then let's gently release. Of course, in your own time, you can do these stretches for as long as you wish. Other leg extends. And so, you know, second leg, second side. Don't expect your legs, your two halves of your body to feel exactly the same. Chances are they won't. So you might notice that this feels a little freer for you, or maybe this is your tight side. And so, you know, no judgment. There's never any judgment with the body. Just notice and then modify accordingly. So again, just grab that strap, soften the shoulders, flex the foot. And so for those of you who are a little more open in the hamstring, if you wish to then add that intensity of extending the right leg away, you're trying to actively drive it into the floor, you're going to get a little bit of a hip flexor stretch, and it does intensify the hamstring. So have a feel. Again, if it ends up that you feel like you suddenly look like this, then you know to take the leg out. And again, personally, I just like to keep it simple. I like to keep that leg out and just work the flexibility of my hamstring without getting the other leg involved. And so, you know, other stretches you can do whilst you're here, just, you know, demoing a little bit on this side, is you can another time, you know, have a feel with taking the leg a little bit out to the side. Keeping hips square. Yeah, that's a nice one for the inner thighs. You could also take the leg a little bit across the body to the other side. It's pretty strong through the outer leg, but there are a couple of other versions of this stretch that you can do, and I will show you those and be in those in another video. Yeah, for now, just giving you one of each muscle. So working the back of your legs, your hamstrings. So let's gently release. And what I like to do after something as big as that is just take what we call a rebound. Just let the body go. So extend the legs, take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and you'll notice already, just even after a few long holds in these exercises, you'll feel that shift in the body. So let's have a look at outer legs, coming into the glutes. And one of the ones that we do a lot, you'll notice it perhaps from your classes, is this ankle to knee pose. I'm crossing my left ankle over my right thigh. Those of you particularly tight, this could be your level that you stay at with that foot to the floor, gently rotating as best as you can right into the socket of your hips. If that feels okay, if you need more than that, then you can pick up and hold the foot, potentially hold the shin. This is personally my favorite version of this. So I feel like I'm cradling the leg. And from here, it's, you know, it feels nice just to rock a little from side to side. Notice how that shifts, how you feel it, where you feel it. And again, we're not trying to jam the knee around, just be where your natural hip rotation is. So where your knee gets to is purely due to what's going on here. Yeah. And then if, again, this isn't enough for you, or you want to pull that thigh closer, then of course you can do, and you can interlace behind that right thigh. So that just intensifies that stretch, and so you'll know whether that's appropriate for you. Always listen to your body. You will know your body, your sensations best. And just notice, you'll see more when we come to the other side, that I'm keeping this top foot flexed just so that it keeps my ankle in a nice alignment. So whatever your version in, you know, 1, 2 or 3, take a couple more breaths here. And then let's gently release and come to experience the second side. So your hips, your pelvis are actually two halves. So again, what this half looks like, who knows? Who knows in your body? So here we go, set it up second side. Right ankle over that left thigh, pause for a moment, hips level. Again, a gentle, perhaps driving away through your inner thigh. And then make that decision whether you stay there whether you pick up, take the second level or the third level. And again, yeah, you can see this nice little 90-degree bend. And another thing to watch for this is I tend to see people not flexing that, and that, you know, your foot is onto the thigh. Try to take the ankle almost to the other side of the thigh. And again, that's just about safety to ankle and knee. So little rocks, maybe interlace. For me on the right side, it feels too much, so I just back away a little bit. And, you know, linking back this video to the video I did on knee pain is, I talked about, you know, one of the first reasons is, you know, potentially because of inflexibility. And so, for example, a good example of this would be now for me is that if I do over pull and try to force my hip into a shape that it can't do, it's not ready for, then straight away I feel that as an aggravation into my knee. Whereas if I back off, suddenly it goes. So, you know, you're getting this feedback from your body. You just need to listen to it and notice. Let's release. Again, let's take that rebound. So give them a moment to stretch out, soften down through the shoulders. Deep breath in. Let it go, deep breath out. And then let's hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a gentle little rock up, and let's come to move into the inner thighs. So this one isn't necessarily anyone's favorite pose. It can feel a little bit ouchy just because we don't stretch into the inner thighs that much. So don't go too deep into this. So let's take the knees. You could start with a hip distant, a mat distant, stance. And then bring yourself down onto the forearms. You're deliberately keeping the bottom lifted. So it's not a child pose. The intention is up and lifted. And sit bones are pushing back in space, again, back as opposed to down. And so you should feel this into your inner thighs. It's known in yoga as frog. And if you feel that you need to go wider than your mat, then come to turn to the side. And then you feel that you've got that support underneath the knees and you can push back a little more. And again, potentially this could be where you pad up under your knees. So for me, I actually have 2 mats. Again, just for a little bit of extra padding. And so breathing right into the inner thighs. So nice deep breaths. Try to soften around the shoulders and the neck. You can take this moment just to, you know, sweep circle through the neck. And then just breathe and experience the stretch. So inner thighs, inner groin, delicate area. So there is no need to go to an extreme level. There's never any need to go to an extreme level in any stretch. You could also come up to hands if it feels a little bit too much. And if being in this position feels too aggravating for your knees, you could bring your toes together in a diamond shape, and you could take it more into a child pose. Of course, when we're up into frog, we are coming pretty much directly up onto the patella, the knee bone. So if that is not nice for you, then do take it into that extended child pose. So let's take a couple more breaths wherever you're at, whichever option. Again, being here for as little or as long as you wish. And then very slowly, let's ease bottom back and gently draw those knees in. Good, lovely. So let's come to our low lunge. So step your right foot forwards. Again, this would be where, for me, I would pad up that knee, and then suddenly everything feels much nicer. So coming to stretch now into the front of your hip. So you've done the back of your legs in your hamstring. We've done our ankle to knee pose for our outer glutes, and we've done inner thighs in frog. So now we're coming back to the front, to that hip flexor. You might also feel a little bit of a stretch here through the front leg into the inner groin. So hands could either support, pressing down onto the thigh. If you wished, if you preferred, you could instead bring hands to the floor. So hip flexor, a muscle that gets super tight, particularly when we're doing our fitness exercises and when we just spend a lot of time seated. So this is a really good one to do. And it's pretty intense though. You'll notice if I kept you here too long, when you release, you'd feel that. And a couple of things to note is sometimes this can feel a little pinchy into the lower back. If that is you, if you feel that, my guidance is just pull the hips back a little bit. It just switches off where these muscles also kick in and connect into the lower back. And you know, technically when you're in here, there's a tiny bit of a little back extension going on. So just by taking that bottom back, you get to tuck the tailbone and take that out a little bit. If that's you, it might not be what you're experiencing. So from here, you could, it's not accessible for all bodies, but I'll show you in case it is accessible for your body, is you could take a quad stretch from here. You could do same hand to same foot. Notice that if you were tight, you would be directly grinding down onto that patella, which is why this isn't nice for many people. If you're more open in this quad, the body will allow you actually to just roll off the knee and be at the bottom part of your quad, of your thigh. That's when it becomes an accessible move. You could also, of course, if you can't quite make that bind, you could get a loop with your strap and hook it over the foot and take it this way. But my guidance is if you are tight of quad, then this stretch very probably will aggravate your knee more than anything. So I will give you other gentler versions. For those of you, I'll show you the other version actually when we come to the other leg. So let's just gently switch, change. Again, if you need to take a moment in a counter pose of child, just to release the back, you could. And then let's set up other side, and then I will show you the other version of that quad stretch. So in you go, second hip flexor, first one gets a break. Nice deep breaths. Again, always softening through the upper body if you're working the lower body, and vice versa. If we were doing lots of shoulder stretches, I tell you just to make sure everything else in the body is soft and relaxed. So again, hands to thighs, or come down low. Another version you could play with, I'm sure I will do it in another video, is you could heel toe that foot a little wider and bring it down a little deeper if you want into something more akin to a lizard lunge. But for the purposes of this video, we'll just stay with that foot in between the hands. So in terms of your different version for your quad stretch, I've talked to you about same hand to same foot. You could also do opposite hand to opposite foot. So I would reach behind and take it that way. And you'll notice straight away, for me, I then like to just peel that knee away and come onto the outer blade of my front foot. It feels like it gives me a little bit more space. So that is there. Again, you could grab the strap. This one is also a nice one to get a stretch through the shoulder. Otherwise, if it's no good, stay here and breathe. And let's release. So peel back. Take knees away. and come into your child pose. Deep breath in and out. And then come all the way down onto the belly, just so I can show you a much gentler version of that quad stretch. So literally from here, bend left foot to left hand and take a catch of it here. And if this aggravates, try to push your kneecap down towards the floor and back behind you rather than lifting it up. If I lift it up, that brings me discomfort. If I lengthen, try to lengthen the thigh, that doesn't. Of course, you could also do a standing quad stretch, standing to a wall and doing this exact same movement. And switch, change, other leg, other quad, different experience. And release. Final one to show you is for the calf muscles. So from here, I'm going to come onto that right shin and just push that left leg back. I'm pushing into the ball of the foot, into the heel. I like to take the hands away just to give me a sense of bracing into the floor to push back, and I get that stretch into the calf. Of course, downward facing dog, if you do yoga, is also a really nice one. I'm just avoiding demoing that in this video because I don't want us to overly use the shoulders. So let's keep it purely about the legs today. You could come down to the forearms, of course. And then let's switch, change, other leg back, get that little push. You could also push into a wall. It's another version of this. So push into that heel. Two, release, and you're done. So hope you enjoyed. So that's just one of each. You can spend as much or as little time in all of those exercises, but just to recap, they're specifically to aid you to release some of that tension, pain, tightness from the knees. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.